Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you guys how to fix stitches that you have dropped, or if you notice that you made a mistake in your pattern, how to drop those stitches and fix them that way instead of basically ripping everything out. As you can see here, I have this stitch marker. And I purposely put it here and knitted quite a few rows just to show you this tutorial. And what I noticed was in my knit, I accidentally added a purl stitch. So that means I need to fix that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to purposely drop these stitches to show you how easy it is to actually fix that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knit this one. And it is in my second, whoops, there it is. It's in my second knit strand. And what you need for this is a crochet hook. And if you do not have a crochet hook, it's not a problem. I can show you how to fix that without one. And you want to kind of pick a crochet hook that's about the size that your yarn would basically call for around that area. So first thing I do, I kind of take my stitches and I kind of pull them down on my work. Well, just the one side really, because I do need to drop the stitches off my left hand needle here. But I want to pull the ones on the right kind of down just a little bit, just so that I don't lose any more than what I want to. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take this stitch. I'm going to just take it off the hook. I know it sounds a little scary, but it's not. Once you know how to fix them, it's pretty easy peasy. Now, just to kind of make sure that I don't lose any more, and I had this in my mouth, sorry. Just to make sure I don't lose any more, I'm just going to pop a little stitch pop a little stitch marker kind of onto a few of these stitches so that in the event if they do slide off, they're not going to unravel. I just want to, oops, wasn't even in frame. Just going to put a couple there just so that if they fall off, they're going to be attached securely to the stitch marker. All right, so I purposely dropped my stitch, and I am just going to unravel it all the way down to that stitch marker. Now that I got that stitch off of there, I can pull these stitches down a little bit so that they don't slide off. Now the problem with this yarn has a little bit of, it's got like metallic in it, so it's kind of really sticking and it's making it a little tricky. So you kind of want to be careful. You don't want to ruin your yarn too much. It's kind of fuzzy too. I love this yarn, but it's a little fuzzy, which can make it kind of difficult. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just rip these stitches all the way down to my stitch marker, and I'll show you what to do once I get there. Okay, so now I've gotten down to where I made my mistake. I purled instead of knitting. So I'm going to take this stitch hook out and set it aside. Right, and I'm just going to pull a couple rows below that so that I can get a good start. Oops. See, it's so fuzzy, it's kind of sticking. All right, so there we go. Right there's pretty good. So as you can see, the knit stitch, it's kind of sticking out. You kind of want to secure it. So if you need to put the stitch marker back in, you can just use your thumb. Either way, you just want to secure it so that you don't lose any more. And now you just grab your crochet hook, insert it in there, find your next row, the row above it, grab onto that, the bar, and you're just going to pull through like that. Again, find the row above, hook onto it, and pull it through your stitch. And that is basically, that's all there is to it. It's really easy. No sense in ripping all the way back. You can just purposely drop your stitch to fix it. And you basically just kind of crochet all the way up. Easy peasy. Now, I'm going to go ahead and crochet up to the top or get closer to the top to show you what to do in the event you don't have a crochet hook. And I'll meet you right back. Okay, so now I've gotten pretty much closer to the top. Now let's say I don't have a crochet hook. I'm going to kind of secure the stitch so that it doesn't fall anymore. And the way I do it is I take my left hand needle and I'm going to put it in through the front of my stitches there. All right, like so. I'm going to look for the next set. This can get a little tricky trying to find the bar, especially if you're doing what I'm doing and working with 2 strands. So you're going to look for the bar that's next up. You're going to take your needle. Let me make sure I got that right first. Okay, so pink and yellow is what I'm going to look for. So take your needle, insert into your stitches there. All right, and now my next bar is going to be that pink and yellow. I'm going to take my left hand needle and I'm going to kind of insert it into the front and pull that bar onto the needle with the stitch that I dropped. So I should have 2 needles on there, or 2 stitches on there. I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to hold on to the second one, that bar that I picked up, and with my right hand needle I'm going to insert it into the stitch that I dropped, and I'm going to pull it over this bar that I picked up, and that's all I got, or that's what you got. It's pretty easy. You'll have to excuse my yarn again. It's getting kind of fuzzy. Now, if you have dropped a lot more stitches, you're just going to repeat that process. So take the stitch that's dropped, should still be on there. Pick up the bar that was above it. Insert your needle into the stitch and hold on to that bar so it don't slide off. Kind of defeats the purpose. It's a little tricky. It's much, much easier with the crochet hook. All right, you're going to yarn it over like so. And you just kind of repeat that process. So how many more bars do I got here? It looks like I got about 2 more bars to do. So pick up your bar into your drop stitch, pull it over the bar, and release. Last one. And just pull it over. All right, so that's how you fix it, but I don't like how that looks. That's why I prefer to use the crochet hook, but it should look right. And you want to make sure your stitch isn't twisted, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll go back to my crochet hook here in a second. Okay, so I went back to the crochet hook. I'm fixing that drop stitch. Try to get a better view here. All right, and I got one more bar left to go. So I'm just gonna crochet it back through, and then I'm gonna put it onto my left hand needle here and just release the crochet hook, set it aside. And then you basically just knit that stitch. But if you can see, the stitch is twisted. The right bar basically should be facing the other way. What it should look like is it should look like this. You should have the longer leg kind of in the front here, which is right here. It's probably really hard to see. So to fix that, you can do what? There it is. See how the longer leg's in the back? It should be in the front. Now, you can fix it the way I just did, which is pull it off with the right hand needle and just flip it back. So I'll show you again. Right hand needle in through the back, pull it off, take your left hand needle, slide it back on. But what I do is I basically just, I'll put the right hand needle into the back of the stitch and just knit it. And that will flip the stitch back over. And it's just like that. Pretty easy. You can fix the stitches just like that. Now the purl stitches are a little bit different, and my next set are purl stitches, so I will drop one of those stitches and show you how to fix that. Okay guys, so I've purposely dropped the purl stitch. The purl stitch takes a little bit more work. Here's my stitch right here. Purl stitch takes a little bit more work, so I do it the easy way. It's kind of cheating a little bit. It takes a little bit more steps, so instead of taking all those steps, I'm just going to flip my work around like so. And if you just saw what happened, you're basically now going to fix it as the knit stitch. And to be quite honest, every time I try to fix the purl stitch as a purl stitch, I always end up putting it in as a knit stitch anyways. So it's just easier for me to turn the work around and make it a knit stitch in general and just fix it that way. And I just got my crochet hook, and I just keep doing this as if I was to just drop the knit stitch. Sorry for the lighting, hope you guys can see this. Okay. Oops, I keep getting away. Oh, my poor little guy, he's not feeling so well. Alright, so I fixed it. Let me do that again. Try to get you guys a better shot here. Alright, so again, I just turn my work around, fix it as a knit stitch. Make sure. Oops. Okay. It's much, much easier than doing it in the purl way. I'm just not talented enough to do it the purl way. So again, as I said, I cheat and I turn it into the knit stitch. Just flip my work around. I'm going to insert it back onto the hook there. Set that aside. I'm going to turn it back around. So then, okay, turn my work back around. Now I got to transfer it back to the needle. Make sure that my stitch isn't twisted there. And then I'm just going to purl it. like so. And then, of course, again, I got my stitch marker there. Anyways, I hope you guys were able to follow that. The lighting and how I'm sitting. I'm sitting in my son's timeout chair. He's starting to figure out that it's his timeout chair. So, a little awkward of a setup. I hope that was easy enough for you guys to follow. If you have any questions, comments, or anything specific you would like to see, feel free to email me at handstitchtreasures@gmail.com. And until next time, get stitch crazy.